Good evening. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Mitch. Back again on Tuesday night. You get me first thing in the morning and the last thing at night on Tuesday. Either you're lucky or you should just run. Good to see y'all. Wow, everybody's piling in here, chatting up a storm already. Give me more to just keep up with. Hope you all had a great day. I hope you all had a great holiday weekend. I didn't even realize the way my life is that it was even a holiday. It was just the same one similar day after another. I did realize this morning when I got in my car to go to Sam's Club that I hadn't even left the house since Friday. 3 whole days. Never went anywhere. Went out for a walk, but that was about it. Never drove anywhere, never went to the store. I tend to want to stay away from the stores and the crowds shopping, especially on holiday weekends. I got some things to show you tonight. Let me start with my disclaimer real quick, get that out of the way. You know that I am not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. I can't give you one-on-one advice about your medications, about your test results. I talk about myself, what I've discovered, how I've been doing carnivore for the past 2 years, what it's done to me and for me, and it's up to you to extrapolate that out. See if it applies to you. Okay, got that out of the way. A lot of you, I'm sure, based on the comments, have seen my video this morning where I talked about this new series of videos that I'm going to start doing. And I'm going to start tomorrow on the first chapter, which is going to be an introduction to the whole series. Kind of what's coming, what you can expect, what it might look like. For some reason, I must have had 15 or 20 comments today saying, Mitch, we're going to buy your book when it comes out. Your book sounds like a great idea. We can't wait for your book. Did I somehow mislead people into thinking that I was writing a book? I think what I said was, if the video series, basically a deep dive into every different aspect of carnivore, is well received, then I will transpose those chapters into a book form and publish it. But that won't be for quite a while yet, so don't hold your breath while you're waiting for this book. Based on the experience I had with my last book, it was a ton of work with no reward whatsoever. And having a successful book is just a real achievement. And you almost have to be a star, or you have to hit it just right. But to sell any number of those books where you'll make enough money in royalties to justify the time and expenses that went into writing the book, illustrating the book, publicizing the book, you have to have a pretty good shot. Getting an actual publisher, like Random House or one of those guys, to give you big $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 advance checks on the idea for your book is great if your name is like Robert Ludlum, Jackie Collins. But old guy Mitch, they're not chasing me around. And pretty much all of us who write our books, Ken Berry, Sean Baker, any of the books that you see, recipe books written by any of the people in our diet space, are self-published, generally by Amazon or some company like that, and printed on demand. And what that means basically is they have a digital image and file of the book, just like the t-shirts that you order. When you order a t-shirt from Amazon, they don't have warehouses full of these t-shirts in all these different sizes and colors. They have warehouses full of blank, plain t-shirts in all these sizes and colors. And when an order comes in for a particular shirt in a particular size, in a particular color, with a particular piece of art on it, they print it right then and there, and then they ship it to you. And that's how they work with most of these books that are self-published. Same thing with my book. My book's been on Amazon for over 20 years. They don't stock the book. My book was published by another self-publisher in Canada called Trafford. And they got me the ISBN number, and they took care of all the copyright stuff. But then they hooked it up with Amazon, and when Amazon sells a copy, Trafford gets a little royalty. I get probably less than $1. And Amazon makes all the money, but they print the book as it's ordered and ship it. It's incredible, but it's the only way they can afford to do that. So when it comes time, if I'm ever going to publish another book, that's how I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be doing it through Amazon, and it'll be a print-on-demand thing. And hopefully might sell a little bit, but not enough to justify anywhere near the amount of work that goes into it. And I think a lot of these books are more a labor of love on the part of the author, just to get the word out. And that's why I decided to do this and make it available on YouTube as a series of videos, which keeps growing on my list, different chapters, and it might be pretty extensive. But I'm going to be talking about this more and more over the next couple days. And another question I had, which I'll answer tonight, is that I'm going to release these chapters as they're finished. So hopefully I'll be able to get 1 or 2 a week of these things done. So it'll be kind of like watching a weekly TV series, like we used to watch them. I have to wait every week for another episode. We weren't able back in my day to tune into Netflix and binge watch 8 seasons of a TV show without stopping. It won't be that way. But I hope that this will become what they call a legacy series, something that becomes a reference that lives on YouTube, unlike my morning chats or my cooking things. Some of my recipes keep getting views, but most of my videos, I make them, they come out, they get some views, and then they go off into obscurity. I've got 400 of them there. So I thought after all of that videotaping and recording and editing and comments and everything, it was time for me to do something that might be a little more permanent, something that took me longer. I could put more care into something that I just didn't talk off the top of my head like I usually do, but worked on an outline so I didn't miss any of the salient points. Make it a little fancier in the editing, a little more, maybe a little more professional, at least to the limit of what I can do. So anyway, look out for that. I'm looking forward to doing it. I really am. I think hopefully as an end result, it might just be very helpful. Now, Ken Berry has a ton of these videos, and they're all great. and they help a lot of people. And I think it's time I climbed up into maybe not his league, but maybe something that will be around for years to come. At least I hope so. And if it doesn't, that's the risk you take when you throw crap against the wall to see if it sticks, which is what we do on YouTube pretty much every day. Okay, so no book right away. I want to show you something here. I have a coffee cup here with no handle on it. This coffee cup was handmade by Dr. Robert Kiltz. How about that? When I met him in Orlando, turns out that this is his hobby. He makes one-of-a-kind, hand-turned, different coffee cups. I can't show you his signature on the bottom, but when it's empty, I'll be able to. And he gives them out to he gives them to people. And he gave me this one, and this is the first time I've ever actually used it or put coffee in it. I thought, wow, that would be pretty neat for my live stream tonight. So thank you, Kiltsy. I love it. I love it. It's really nice, really nice. As you may notice, when I use a regular coffee cup, half the time I don't pick it up by the handle. I just grab it around the middle. So this is perfectly fine for me. And Kiltz, the coffee tastes better in your cup. Excuse me. Maybe he put some coughing powder in there. I washed it out. Wow, something went down the wrong pipe on that last swallow. It's what happens when I try to talk and drink coffee at the same time, or breathe and drink coffee at the same time. Want to share one. Here it is. I want to share an image with you right now. Peter, Papa Carnivore. You all know Papa Carnivore. Peter sent me this. He emailed me this. Oh, let me get rid of that stupid. Comment I put up there. And this was a lunch where he works that his company put out for the holiday for the people that were working over the Labor Day weekend. Isn't this special? What do we got here? Let's zoom in. We got, it wasn't a high-res photo, but we got bags of chips and things here. We have Coke Zero, Pepsi, something or other, Schweppes, ginger ale, and root beer. We have chocolate chip cookies right here. We have chocolate chip cookies. I don't know what these cans are. We have bags of Cheez-Its here and some other cellophane wrapped type of snack. And the only thing on this whole table that actually even comes close to what might be considered food would be a tiny little bit of stuff in these sandwiches here. I know I can see like a little red there. It looks like tomato. And of course, it's surrounded by bread. And Peter's comment on his email to me was, there's not a single thing that they put out that I could eat. Thank you, Peter, for that. I'm sure that the lunch table at offices all across this country always looks just like that. School lunches look like that. Even hospital food looks like that. It's crazy. This is what how well cemented in these people are. It is it is scary to think that that's normal. Normal. That's normal eating. I would say for 98 to 99% of the people in this country, that is not a surprise to them when they see it laid out on a table. If there was a platter full of ribeyes, chicken wings, bacon, eggs, people would be absolutely shocked, wondering where the hell the Cheez-Its are. We've got a long, long, long way to go. We got a long way to go. I did want to announce there's a YouTube channel, Nia's Way, and Nia is going to be interviewing me or recording an interview with me on the 6th. I think it's Friday, end of the week. And that should be released. She'll release it probably however fast they get them edited. But I'll let you know in the community. I'll post a community post. Let you know when she tells me it's going to be released so that you could give it a watch. And if you like her channel, you might want to subscribe to it. I see the chat's really running by, so I've got a few other things I want to show you, but we'll save that for a little later. Let me say hi to some people who are here. What time is it? It's 1:15. Well, I'll get started a little earlier tonight. Got 105 people watching right now, it says. Not a bad start. Cliff Medina, how you doing? Good to see you. Richard, CDL driver. Loves my morning coffee time. I'm glad you guys like that. I've had a lot of nice compliments on it, and it seems like I've got a pretty regular bunch of people that really, seems to tune in every day. And even though those videos early in the day don't perform like a couple of my better performing videos, I'm very happy with it, with the fact that it's pretty steady and tries real hard to get up to about 2,000 views by the time tomorrow comes. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's not a lot of views based on what you see on YouTube. But when you think about a couple thousand people tune in to listen to you a day, it's very flattering. It really is. Jerry Bell, hello, meat people. Tina Schweikerath, good to have you here. CB Carmack from Alabama says, hey. And Nick Sheeson is here. How you doing? And these are people that were here a half an hour before the show, chatting away. Michael Prager is here. How you doing? Sitting back, drinking coffee by addiction. That's okay. Ellen, hi, Ellen. How you doing? Good to see you. Jody, my buddy. Drone Shots, always here. Good to see you, man. Susan M is here. Hiya, Susan. Even this clown is old guy Carnivore is here. Imagine that. Tom from Tampa. Not Tom. Yeah. Tom. I got a few people in Tampa now. I got to remember their names. I got Michael from Tampa. And I've got Tom from Tampa. Good to see you. And hopefully before September is out, we will have a meetup at the Brazilian Steakhouse over there in Tampa. We're going to be working on that here shortly, but I hope to have that accomplished by the end of this month. Steve Studley, how you doing, my friend? And Pat Ramirez is here. How you doing, Pat? Good to see you. Richard Williams, still in Copper Hill, Tennessee. Furrow Grandma, always here. Good to see you. And Peter, Papa Carnivore, the lucky recipient of that fabulously nutritious lunch that I just showed you. I am Jazzy Jude. How you doing, Jude? Good to see you. Warm San Diego. Who else? Who else didn't I say hi to from the early group? Mark Davis is here. Hey, Mark. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. And Mark C is here. Hi, Mark. All the Marks are in the house tonight. How do you pronounce that? Bodzod, Smooth Tunes. Thank you, my friend. Linda G is here. Hi, Linda. Good to see you. And Dr. Nelson. Hey, Nelson, how you doing? How you doing, man? Call me, will you, so we can go to lunch one day when you're over here in Orlando. If you remember Nelson Vasquez, when Kiltz and I did that live stream from the Keto Summit, Nelson was the third person in that. And he practices medicine here in Melbourne 2 days a week. And I said, call me. When you're free, we'll get together. But I'm glad to see you here, Nelson. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm really looking forward to having lunch with you. We run over to that Brazilian steakhouse or something. That'd be great. Or a barbecue place. Anything you like. Anything you like, man. Nelson lost a tremendous amount of weight. What a success story he is. I'm going to corral him for an interview one of these days. And I have not interviewed anybody yet on my channel. You may have noticed, I have not actually done an interview. I've been interviewed. I've done a few joint live streams. But I haven't actually featured somebody on my channel in an interview. Or maybe even just invite you into this live stream to spend 10 or 15 minutes with me. And we can talk about your success and how you did it. I'm sure everybody'd be interested. Ivon C is here. How you doing, Ivon? Welcome. And Robin. No, not Robin. Ron. That's what happens. I need to go get new glasses. These are actually too strong now. My eyes are getting better. And I need to go get weaker glasses. Thank you, Carnivore, for that. But sometimes I have to lean a little closer. Or if I take them off altogether, I can actually read. They're actually sharper, but I talked at one point, and I'm sure most of you haven't heard the story about my what's called prism correction, but I can actually see the letters crystal clear, but I see them overlapping because I get double vision because one of my eyes sees higher than the other. So while I'm correcting for that with these lenses, the lenses are blurring the type, and it's sharper with no lenses. It's crazy. So it's time for me to go back and get new glasses. These are only a year old. I do get them at Costco. I really like the Costco optical department. I let my Costco membership expire back in February because I buy almost all my stuff at Sam's Club. The Costco is always jam-packed, crowded. They don't let you in early. You don't get 5% back on the credit card like Sam's does. They don't have markdown meat. They do have a much broader selection of meat, however. But I find that shopping at Sam's at 8 in the morning with nobody in the store is a lot more pleasant a shopping experience for me than fighting the crowds at Costco. But I'll have to rejoin in order to, and even if I rejoin, their glasses are they're better and cheaper, including the cost of the membership, than any other place I can go and get a pair of comparable glasses. Still save money. So one of these days here soon, I'll wander over there, give them I think it's $60, renew my membership, and maybe start shopping. And there's Ellen chimes in. I just noticed it in the chat with a tip that says Costco has good socks and underwear. The last time I've been buying my socks and underwear from Amazon for years. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Papa Carnivore. Here's one. Here's another one. Jerome Cusino. How you doing, Jerome? Good to see you. John Bassett is here. Hola. Hola, John. Firefly is here. How you doing, Firefly? Says hit the like. Yeah, why not? Jerry Vajtush. How you doing, Jerry, from Pontevedra Beach? I know that like the back of my hand now. And are we even up to 8 o'clock? We've hit 8 o'clock. Juan from Chile is here. Hi, Juan. Good to see you, man. Nelson is saying hi to everybody. Good deal. What did Mark say? Mark, I would run, but I might fall down. Nah. Belmont Leone. Hello, Mitch from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Yeah, Cherry Hill. I talked about Cherry Hill a few times. That city played a prominent role in my growing up in Philadelphia. Latin Casino. Do they still have the Latin Casino over there? It's a nightclub from way back. I told a story. That's where we went for my senior prom outing. We went to the Latin Casino nightclub in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The headliner was Jack Jones. I don't even know how many of you are old enough to remember Jack Jones. But the headliner was Jack Jones, and opening for Jack Jones was a unknown local young comedian named Bill Cosby. And that was the first time that I had ever heard of Bill Cosby. We thought they spelled it wrong. We thought his name was Bill Crosby. Somebody dropped the R out of it, but turns out it was Bill Cosby. And he was the opening act for Jack Jones, and he had just graduated college in Philadelphia. And he was the funniest human being I've ever seen back then. It's a shame what happened to him, but he was a funny, funny guy. That shows you how old I am. Satya Kalsa's here. How you doing? Good to see you. Ivy has a question. Hi, Mitch. Do you ever eat kiwi, broccoli, raw red onions, or protein drinks? Do you ever add garlic or cinnamon? No. Why do I get the feeling that you just listed everything that you really like? I mean, that's an interesting list. No. I don't eat kiwi. It's a fruit, has sugar. I don't eat plants. And I could care less about broccoli. I never liked it anyway. I do miss onion sometimes, but I never ate raw onions. I would always cook with onions. And if I miss anything, it might be onions and garlic in cooking, which I suppose I could probably use without much detriment. But what happened to me over 2 years of going without that stuff is I learned to absolutely love the actual taste of the food without the seasoning. I learned to like it better without the onions and garlic. My taste changed. And protein drinks, I think, in every form are just pure poison. God knows what they put in that. Usually it's loaded with sugar and seed oils. And the protein they put in there, who knows where they're getting it? Pea protein, whey protein. It certainly isn't ribeye protein. I can guarantee you that. So, no, Ivy, I'm sorry, I don't do that. But what you do is totally up to you, because you don't have to listen to me or even do like I do. We have Chris Roberts says, good evening, everyone. And Spanky's here. Whoop, whoop. Hi, Spanky, Golf Addict. Good to see you. And I think, oh, here's Mark. Hi, Mark. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. We're going to go down here just a little more. And that'll be enough saying good evening to the early birds. Pamela Suarez, how you doing? Good to see you. Nelson's chatting away. Good to see that. Good to see that, man. And call me. Don't make me call you. I'll call you. I will. Sherry Morgan is here. Hiya, Sherry. Good to see you. Love and light from California, too. Sherry's got a YouTube channel. As long as Sherry's been in here, and as long as Sherry has been in these chats, in the live streams, and chatting away, time or just going in too many directions doesn't give me much time to check out into some individuals' YouTube channels. But I said, I got to look at this. And I looked at her channel. This is an amazing young lady. Athletic as hell. And impressive. So I would suggest any of you women out there that might want to learn how to pole dance for exercise sake, you might want to watch some of Sherry's videos. They're very interesting, very entertaining. And yes, I'm a man, and that probably is one of the things that made me recommend this to you. Anyway, thanks. Thanks, Sherry. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mark Davis, mirroring, Spanky's whoop whoop. Carnivore Hercules, I'm turning blue. Why are you turning blue, my friend? I don't know if I get the significance of that. John Bassett, did I say hi to you? Probably. B-Matt is here. Hiya, B-Matt. Good to see you. What aren't the stars indicating membership? Perhaps I'm the only one who can't see that. I don't know what you mean by that. If you mean those little colored stars next to their name, they mean that they're members. That means they're members of the private community. And the color of the star indicates how long they've been. I think the blue is like a month. I think the turquoise is like 3 months. I think when they get to the yellow, it's 6 months. And then there's many colors after that. Kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous tokens. What are you talking about, Mark? Is Mitch? Come on, Mark. Behave yourself. I think, here's one. Lori Weitzel, how you doing? From Ontario, Canada. 11 weeks clean bill of health today. Clean bill of health. Yes, sir. Congratulations from me and the entire crowd here. Okay. I think that's enough of that chat. I'm going to go into the other chat and pick up. Want to pick up and look for questions. So if you got a question to ask me, bunch of QQQs. Olga Carnivore's ready to work with the evils of canola oil. That's actually a pretty good idea. I think it's been done. But, yeah, put a QQQ, capital QQQ, 3 of them together. And then when I search the chat for any occurrence of that, it'll take me right to the questions. And I'll be able to answer them for you. Let me break off here a little bit and share something with you. I let me get it up on the screen here. I went to Sam's Club this morning, and yes, they have eggs. These over here, and they were up 20 cents. I used to pay 4.98 for a dozen and a half of these pasture raised eggs. That's what all of these are right here. I used to pay pasture raised, and it's like 5.22 or something like that now. So for all this shortages and all of this panic and all the bird flu and all that other crap that they put us through for a few weeks, the eggs are back in stock from what I understand everywhere. They're a little bit higher. Anytime there's a shortage, whether it's gasoline, food, or anything, you always know that the new price is going to settle a little higher than the old price. And we just are happy to pay that because the week before they were twice that much. That's a tactic that they use. They've always got an excuse. And they had the cage-free eggs. I mean, that's a lot of eggs right there when you think about it, not to mention how many pallet loads of these things they have in the back. They have the white eggs, and they have the cartons that I bought the last time I was there with 15 dozen large white eggs. And I've been eating them, and they've been pretty good eggs. And I'm sure there's plenty of nutrition in them. So I haven't gotten halfway through that box full of eggs yet, but there was plenty of eggs there. And there's Peter's lunch, and there's I'm just paging through the graphics. Okay, I bought a couple of these today, and y'all familiar with the Wright's bacon. It's still 19 bucks. It's been that way for months. And the reason I took that picture was I was told by one of you guys that Sam's also has their own brand, Members Mark, double smoked thick cut bacon. And when you look at the packaging and you look at the bacon, you can see it looks very close to the Wright's. Still comes in two 2-pound packages put together. I took a look at the nutrition label. I can't blow it up big enough for you to see. And when I looked at the carbohydrate count, it said 1 gram per slice. When I looked at the Wright's bacon, this bacon here, it said 0 grams, which means it's less than a half. So that means that the Members Mark bacon, if the labeling is accurate and they measured it accurately, is actually going to have a little more carbs in it. So for $3 extra, I went ahead and stuck with the Wright's. I should have bought one package that had other stuff and tried it, but I work so hard trying to make sure I don't eat anything that says it has 1 gram. I know that there's like 0.7 of a gram of carbs in an egg. I know that there's trace carbs always in meat because meat is muscle and muscle has glycogen. Glycogen is sugar. You cannot get meat without some glycogen in it. So I already assume that I may be getting as much as 5 grams or so of carbs a day just from the meat that I eat. If I eat 4 or 5 strips of bacon, I'm probably getting a gram or two of carbs. If I eat 5 eggs, I'm getting 3 or 4 grams from the eggs. And that's just normal. We can't be afraid of that. My only test, I know these carbs aren't hurting me because I don't gain weight. I weighed 136 pounds this morning. 136 pounds, 5'10". The last thing in the world I worry about right now is putting on weight. What I worry about is triggering cravings. That's my big fear. And that's my big test. My big test on anything I eat is it likely to start me thinking about eating those foods that I used to crave? Because if I start thinking about that stuff, it's only a matter of time before I'm finished. Right now, I don't think about it. The thoughts of that never enters my mind. So believe it or not, the difference between 1 gram per slice and 0 grams per slice, even if it wasn't really that much of a difference, maybe the reality was only a couple tenths of a gram per slice, because they round up and they round down. I didn't think it was worth, for the extra $3, I'll go just for my own state of mind. But if it's not that important to you, if you're doing keto or ketovore, by all means. I've heard that was very, very, very good bacon. And thank you so much. Mark C. gifted 5 memberships to the private community, and you're filling up my private community here, Mark. I think even some of these people are even enjoying it and sticking around, which is great. And the people who got lucky enough to get those memberships tonight, you got 1 month in the private community. You can come to the Thursday night live stream, even participate, although I haven't seen any of the newer people actually click on the link and join the round table, but you certainly can, and you're certainly free to. You're free to watch the replays of all the other private community live streams. They will show up for you, and you can watch them. You notice that your names should be green now in the chats if you post something in the chat. And Agent 87, Chad Jordan, Evelyn, Sherry. Oh, no, you weren't gifted. You already remember. Sherry, you got stuck right in the middle of the list with the new members. John Miller was gifted a membership. And Gordon Cook was gifted a membership. So welcome, everybody. And you can thank Mark C. for that. And then if you don't think it's worth it for you, for $4 a month to be in this community, it's something you either got to want to do or not. You just cancel. Basically, I think it'll automatically cancel because you yourself never subscribed. So, but if you want to stay in, then you take it up yourself. So I hope to see you there, and whether you decide it's for you or not, that's totally your decision. But very nice of Mark C. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Let me. So I showed you the pictures. I had a whole list of things. Oh, I have something here that's just absolutely funny. I mean, just funny. And hang in there with me 1 second, and I'll see if I can set this up. Hang on, folks. Okay. All right. I'm gonna play this for you. It was in my feed today. Honest to God, this was in my feed today.
Well, my body could use a little slimming. I keep my shirt on when I go swimming, and I ain't seen my feet since 1984. The old lady wants wants to roll in the hay. We turn the lights down all the way, 'cause I don't look good naked anymore. No, I don't look good naked anymore. I'm a deep fried double wide version of the man I was before. If I keep on like I'm doing, I won't fit through the door, and I don't look good naked anymore. Well, I used to be a hell of a man.
All right. I don't want to get any copyright strikes. I thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And if you want to, here's the link in the chat. Copy it. There's a link to that video. Oh, man. Why it popped up in my feed, I don't know. But I thought that was just a riot. And I said, well, it's on YouTube, so I can actually show parts of it like they do in these videos where they do the reaction videos to things. And they do, a lot of people do the reactions to these music videos and play the whole damn video and just stop it every 2 seconds and say, man, I really like that, and start it again. They don't seem to have a problem. But being as this is a live stream, I'm not going to worry about any of the copyright stuff. I think this is probably okay to show you. That video, my friends, was posted 10 years ago. 10 years ago. It has received 38 million views. 38 million views. I am in the wrong friggin' business. 38 million views. Fabulous. Fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed that. I did put the link up there. I'll put it in again if you missed it. Have fun with that. Send it to all your friends. It's and watch it all the way through. It's a riot. And Mark Davis, thank you, my friends, so much. I appreciate that. I think I have given up on you taking us shopping at Sam's. No, don't give up. Don't give up. I'm not done with that. I don't like to do it too often because I don't know if they like it. But I went today, and I almost took my camera today. But I figured absolutely right. I figured that they would have nothing marked down. Nothing. And, I did that video. I do these morning videos. So if I go to Sam's, I'm not going to be able to post them as early. The earliest I can get these things actually uploaded and live on YouTube is generally 9:30 is as early as even if I film them at 7, because I have to edit them, and then I have to upload them, and I have to do all that stuff. And if I go to Sam's Club, it'll be another half hour, 45 minutes before I can get that video up. But this morning, I talked to Wayne, the guy at the front door. I got there about 8:30 in the morning, and I talked to Wayne. He said there was no markdown stuff in the store. They got cleaned out over the holiday weekend, and I kind of figured that. So I'm planning, just for you, Mark, to go maybe Thursday morning and take my camera and go on a bargain meat hunt, because I need to be buying some steaks. I've about used up most of that stuff that I had from last year in my freezer outside. All of that 100 pounds or 150 pounds of stuff I bought from Publix when they had their sales on the prime rib roast. So thanks again, Mark. I appreciate that, and I definitely will take you shopping at Sam's Club with me. I see Aunt B is here. How you doing, B? I think you have to search out the funny for us. I try. I try to keep track of some of the stuff that I see. There's a lot to keep track of here. So now I'm down in the chat. I'm down to 847. Yeah, I'm almost current. I'm almost current. There, I'm at the bottom of the chat over here. People are talking to each other more than you're talking to me. Here's somebody I haven't seen, Julia in the Pines. Hiya, Julia. Welcome. Good to see you. Sherry's chatting her little head off. Good for you. Here's one. Here's one I haven't seen. Maria Adriana von Buell. Wow. What a name. Hi from New Zealand. The first time I'm catching you live. Your videos have been very helpful. Glad to hear that. One day 9 of Carnivore and already noticing the difference in inflammation. That's great. That's great. You may still have a little rough time ahead, but work through it. It's absolutely worth it. 9 days is still kind of early stages, but good to see you here, Maria. Hope to see more of you. Thanks for coming in. Here's one, Carnivores, busting the myth. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. On Manuel. Okay, let me see if I can see any questions here. Let's see. I need to go here. I need to hit this. I need to search for QQQ. Okay. Jerome Castanau says, I've run out of electrolyte mix. Time for salty water. Yeah, in a pinch. In a pinch, that'll work. I don't know, did you mix your own, or did you buy the pre-made? But yeah, I try to drink some every day. Probably a good idea. Robert Haug says, Mitch, have you ever tried sprinting? I've been doing it, but boy, I can only do it for a few seconds. Upper Peninsula, 77-year-old carnivore, liver and onions, never used onions with liver. Okay. Robert, I'm not a sprinter. If I ever sprinted, it was on a bicycle. And the reason is I have 2 badly compressed discs in my back. I don't ever run or jog. It kills me and always had. I manage my bad back. I live without pain, but I know my limits. I have this orthopod thing that you've seen if you've seen any of my exercise videos where so I can hang inverted to stretch out my spine. I take very good care of my back because there have been times in my life, because of my bad back, that I've been flat on my back in bed for days, unable to move, hardly even able to crawl, hands and knees to the bathroom. I don't ever want to go there again. And I know even a slight pounding of running, even with the best running shoes or jogging shoes, I can't risk it. I won't risk it. I've learned, we learn, these are handicaps when we get injured, and we learn how to manage these things, just like I've learned to manage what I eat to live the best. So I have my own set of limits and restraints that I have to honor in order to live pain-free, and I have to watch how I lift things. I have to make sure I lift with my knees and not bend over and lift with my back. All that stuff is very rough on your back. And I will not have back surgery, that's for sure. Pardon the slurping. I'm not used to this cup. Let me finish it so I can show you the bottom. That's Kiltz's. If you, I can't read it, but he scratched it in there into the bottom of the cup. That's his signature. This is was very appreciated, and I love it. And thank you, Kiltsy, if you happen to be watching. Okay. I see that Lori Weitzel just subscribed to Sherry's channel. Hey, Sherry, I hope I get you a few subs here tonight. Glad to help out. Let's see. Next question. Is there one? No. Robert Howe. I'll ask my question again. Mitch, have you ever tried sprinting? No. I just answered that one. That one again. All right, I'm just jumping back and forth between those two questions. So anybody that's got some questions, please put them in. Let me go back up to the top of the chat and try. No, nobody cares about me. Only Robert wants to know if I've sprinted. So, no questions? I think I went through the stuff I wanted to talk about. I played the Naked song, told you about Nia's Way interview, told you about my shopping at Sam's Club, told you about Peter's wonderful office lunch. Yes, I've gone through my list. There, a question at last. Ivy says she asked the question. Ivy. Well, it didn't come up. Let me search for you. Ivy. And see. Yeah, you told me a couple times you asked a question. I see. Here it is. Hey, okay, Ivy, I found it. Thank you for that. Yeah, put the cues together. The problem is you put spaces between them, and I'm searching for three of them together. So that's probably why it didn't land on it, but I'm glad you kept trying. Now, what do you think about castor oil? Not to eat it, but to rub it on the body. There are endless YouTube videos about castor oil. Wow. I don't want to seem like I'm out of the mainstream here, but I have never heard of that or ever seen a video about using castor oil on your skin. I can't imagine that it could hurt in any way. Hang on. Let's do a little. Just bear with me a second. Bear with me a second, and there we go. And let me let's see what Dr. Google has to say. Because when I hear something like that, I'll type castor oil skin. Castor oil for face, acne, and skin. It says here, researchers found that castor oil has antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties. It can help to decrease pimples, soften skin, and reduce the appearance of castor oil is a vegetable oil derived from the seeds of the Ricinus communis plant. This plant is primarily grown in Africa, South America, and India. The United States and China are primary importers. What are the benefits of using castor oil? According to 2022 research, the main chemical composition of castor oil is ricinoleic acid, a potent fatty acid that can moisturize and protect your skin barrier. Researchers found that castor oil has an antimicrobial. Yes, we read that before. Additional benefits of using castor oil: preventing wrinkles, fighting acne, promote overall skin health. How is castor oil? Castor oil is thick. You should mix it with a carrier oil, like coconut, almond, or olive. All I can tell you is you're going to smell like a salad walking down the street with all of that on your face. But according to this stuff, and again, everything I read on Google or everything I read about any study, I take with a grain of sand. I'll probably look into it a little more. It's interesting. It's not something that I've ever thought I needed. I think my skin is fine. My skin is plenty moist. I don't have an acne problem, not at my age anyway. I did when I was a teenager. I don't know if it could hurt, but I'm certainly not experienced or any authority on that. I wish I could have given you a more educated answer, but do a little research, and you might want to do. Interestingly enough, you might want to do just the opposite. You might want to say, castor oil benefits. Castor oil makes skin darker. Benefits of rubbing castor oil on stomach. Benefits of castor oil on the private parts. Here's a thought. Drinking castor oil. Castor oil for hair. Castor oil for skin. I'm just going to say castor oil bad for skin. Castor oil can cause skin irritation, allergic reactions, and other side effects if used incorrectly. It says here, can cause skin irritation, inflammation, and dryness. And I'll tell you, interestingly enough, until I stopped using lotion on my feet, I had a problem with my feet being dry, especially my heels. And my heels would crack. And any of you who've ever had that happen know that it is painful. It's painful when your heels crack. And I tried all different kinds of moisturizing lotions, and I would put them on my feet every night before I go to bed, and it would feel good when I put them on my feet. But in the morning, my feet were as dry as they were, and I wasn't going. I didn't want to do it twice a day. And I did this for years. And I thought, well, I just have something wrong with my feet. Just dry feet, dry heels. I ran out of hand lotion. I'm trying to remember the names. Sarah something or other. Anyway, these are supposed to be, high-end, really good for you, recommended by doctor, hand lotions. I ran out of it. For a couple nights, I didn't put the hand lotion on my feet. And the next thing I knew, my feet weren't dry anymore. And they're fine now. I haven't used it in months, and all of the problems I had with the dryness in my heels has reversed itself. The hand lotion was probably causing the problem. So I said to myself, for those of you that are South Park fans and know that every time Kenny gets killed, the kids yell, "You bastards." I yelled at the skin lotion company, "You bastards! You're making this stuff so that it causes the problem that causes me to keep buying it." And knowing what I know about pharmaceutical companies, I certainly wouldn't put that past them. Now, I'm not making an accusation here, and I certainly have no proof of it other than my own 2 feet. But I don't have that problem anymore when I stopped using the lotion. Maybe. And if you listen to many of the other people, like the Ken Berries, and when they talk about using anything on your skin, anything, any kind of lotion, any of these antibacterial soaps, sunscreens, they say don't, and they don't do that. If anything, they may make soap out of tallow, out of animal fats. And castor oil is a vegetable oil. So unless you've tried it and it gives you, Ivy, great benefits that are noticeable, and the problems come back when you stop using it, try not using anything on your skin, washing mostly with just water, and using some animal fats as moisturizers. I know a lot of people are doing that. You might want to look that up on YouTube. There's many videos. I know Nisha's probably made some videos about making her own face creams and things like that. Anyway, I felt bad about not being able to give you an educated answer, so hopefully I've shown you how I might go about researching something that I'm not familiar with. And if I really want to find something out, looking at it from every different angle for about an hour, I can usually separate the BS from the reality of it. So hopefully that will answer that question, and then we'll go on to the next question here. But I have, let me get to the bottom here. I have Mark Davis chimed in with a big one. Mark Davis, thanks for the super chat, Mark. I'm trying my very best, Mitch, to behave. I really am. Fitch said to be very careful when walking in your backyard. You might get some warm stuff. Thanks. Mark. Mark's, in case you haven't figured it out, Mark is a character and a comedian too. So, no, Mark, nobody brings their little doggy into my backyard. So, and your dog Fitch hasn't visited me lately. Thanks so much, and I hope you're doing well getting your new stock trading computer put together, and I'm looking forward to seeing a picture of that. So thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. And let me go back and try to find. Ellen says she put out a bunch of QQQs. Okay, Ellen, let me see if I can find them here. Okay, I see. Some people started doing this. CB. CB Carmack says, did you know in the 1930s, Camel cigarette ads promoted smoking their cigarettes for better digestion. I will show you the ads Thursday. It's absurd. I've seen those ads. I've actually seen it. I remember as a kid on TV in the early days of TV when it was little round, because I was born in the year 1947, and that's very close to the time that TV was born. So when I was very young, when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, we were like some of the first people in the neighborhood to actually have a TV, and it was one of those little black and white jobs with the round screen. And I remember growing up seeing commercials. Cigarette commercials were very, very popular. They were everywhere. Half the people in this country smoked. I comment about that a lot. I comment a lot about when half the people in this country smoked, but they didn't eat the quantities of sugar and seed oils and grains and crap and chemicals that we eat today. There was hardly any heart disease. It wasn't until Eisenhower had a heart attack that people even started looking at heart disease. There was very little cancer, very little diabetes, nothing like today. Nothing like, no, and obesity was rare. You had to go to a circus to see an 800-pound man. Now you just got to go to Walmart. People chastised me for saying that maybe we'd be better off if we quit eating and just all took up cigarette smoking or cigar smoking, which you don't inhale. And then all that tar doesn't come into play. You're not sucking any of that stuff into your lungs. You may be getting a little nicotine through the mucosa in your mouth. Might absorb some nicotine, but I've given up smoking for 2 weeks to a month, especially 3 years ago when I had this brain surgery. I didn't smoke cigars for almost 2 months. I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms. I wasn't jonesing for a cigar. I convinced myself I'm not really addicted to nicotine. I just enjoy it. It's relaxing, and it's a habit. Big difference between a habit and an addiction. Habits are easier to break, and you can break a habit in 30 days. A lot of habits have an addiction combined with them. But I remember the commercials. I do, CB. I remember the commercials of doctors talking about right after dinner, I enjoy a good Camel because it helps my digestion. I remember that. And I can't wait till Thursday and see what you found. In case you don't know it, CB is finding memorabilia out there on eBay and buying it, collectible stuff that relates to the carnivore diet. And last Thursday, or 2 Thursdays ago, in the private community, he pulls out an actual copy of Newsweek with Ansel Keys' picture, the one that you see everywhere in every documentary. Ansel Keys on Newsweek. CB found an almost pristine copy of that on eBay, of that actual magazine, and bought it. And I thought that was really cool. Now it seems he's found some cigarette commercials touting how Camels aid digestion. And that's absolutely true. It used to be you watch a movie. I love this. I just love it. You watch a movie from the 60s, the 50s and 60s, and people go into the hospital And the doctors are all, and the nurses are all running around with cigarettes hanging out of their mouth. You go into a doctor's office, he's examining you. He's examining you with a cigarette in his mouth and smoke burning. It's friggin' amazing. Now, in our society, in California, they want to outlaw outdoor smoking completely. This is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, thanks for that. Thanks for that, CB. That's great. And Sherry Morgan asked me, do any of your kids eat carnivore? And what do they think of your carnivore lifestyle? Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you, Sherry. I've talked about my kids a lot. Both my kids are overweight. My daughter's probably more so than my son, because I think my daughter is more of a carbohydrate addict. She desperately wants to do carnivore. She started it. I can't even guess how many times. She has a husband and a son who are pretty thoughtless about what they do in front of her. Her husband, I think, is already a diabetic. Her kid is a pretty healthy young man, but most young people are. He never ate a lot of sugar for some reason, and he's doing pretty good, my grandson. But my daughter is so addicted. It is her eating frozen yogurt, Dairy Queen, that kind of stuff, with all the bits of candy and chunks of candy bars mixed. Those things, she can't live without them. She owns a business. She owns a public relations company. Very stressful business, and she's a stress eater. And she'll go on Carnivore, and she'll send me pictures of her bacon and eggs and of her steaks, and it lasts a week. I used to try to be a cheerleader. It just got to the point where I was alienating her, and you have to be very, very careful. She knows I mean well, but she realizes her problem. We talk about it when she wants to. I know that she knows that she's a carb addict. She is how I'm so sure that everything I say is correct, because I see it every day in my daughter. That level of addiction. I just think a lot more people than just my daughter suffer from carb addiction. I think it's most people. It's why most people can never sustain weight loss on any diet. It's because they never cure the addiction. And in order to cure the addiction, you have to abstain from sugar for at least 30 days. Better 60 or 90 days. Completely abstain. It takes that long for your brain to get the message that you're not going to die if you don't get sugar tomorrow. It's so used to living in that physiology of sugar burning. And since we can only store a day's worth of sugar in our body, once a day goes by without sugar, our brain, our subconscious panics. There's not enough sugar, and the cravings are thrust upon us. And they're life and death as far as our brain is concerned. Our brain isn't really aware of the fact that we've got 1 million calories of fat that we can't get to because of our high insulin. And it takes a while for your brain to get used to things. That's why it takes 30 days to break a habit. Your brain has to get out of the habit. Well, same thing with sugar. And unless you can manage somehow to abstain for at least 30 and preferably 60 or 90 days from any carbohydrates. That means strict, no carbs, abstinence. You're never going to cure your addiction. You might be able to tamp it down for a while, but the minute it gets to the point where those cravings are just becoming too much to bear, you're going to succumb to them, and you are going to fail. It's just the way it is. That's why I focus. That's why I harp on addiction. It's why I don't have nearly as many subscribers as I might have had if I was pushing out the keto pizza crust recipes, playing to all of those poor people who want to lose weight, playing to their fears of giving this stuff up, and giving them those things that they may like and what they may want to do, but not really helping them in any way, actually sabotaging them. So I've taken the stance on this because it is all about being an addict. And why would carb addiction be any different than alcoholism or drug addiction? No addiction can you have any of that substance. You can't and sustain it. So that's my daughter's story. My son, he likes to drink. He can be on a carnivore diet, but he has he's always out to lunch. He's got a job where he has to entertain a lot of his clients. He's a wealth manager. He and his wife travel a lot. They just went on a cruise. I saw him the other day. He came over and we smoked a cigar yesterday. I said, how you doing? He said, well, I was doing pretty good on carnivore till we went on this cruise. Now you can go on. You can go on a cruise. You can go on a cruise on carnivore, and God knows there's plenty of meat on a cruise ship. But if you're even slightly carb addicted, all that other stuff isn't going to leave you alone. You're not going to be able to get it out of your mind until your brain gets used to the fact that you just don't need the sugar. Then it starts going easier on you. In this anthology that I'm going to produce, I'm going to go so deep into why I think this carb addiction has, how it works, how it has this hold on us, and why what I tell people to do for the first 30 days may be the best and most effective way of curing the addiction at the same time as you actually convert your physiology from burning the sugars as a primary fuel to becoming a fat burner, getting your, in a period of time, getting your fasting insulin back down, allowing your fat cells, allowing the doors to open, because insulin puts you in fat storage mode and doesn't let the fat out of your cell. So you're running around with a full tank of gas and no way to get at it. So you got to keep cramming that sugar down your neck. And your brain makes sure that you want it. And that's where the cravings come from. It's not a complicated thing, but it's not something you can do in 3 days. You can't cure carb addiction in 3 days, like you can't cure alcohol addiction. Most programs that treat any addiction are at least 30 days. That seems to be the magic number where these things begin to reverse. It takes that long to make a habit. You have to do something for 30 days before it kind of becomes a habit. If you don't believe me, try putting, I don't know what shoe you put on first, but starting tomorrow, start putting the other shoe on first and see how long it is until you're automatically doing it that way. Or anything that you do, change it a little bit. Anyway, so I've got 2 kids that both need to be carnivores. They both think I'm the smartest guy on the planet. They both know everything I know and have heard the lectures over and over again. And yet, because of the addictions, They just can't do it. And that's a sad story. And that's what has hit home and convinced me the power of these things, how powerful they are over people who even want to do the right thing. I see Sherry had another one down here. Let me acknowledge that. Thank you. Did you see Cyrus comparing cutting addiction, same self-harm, as binge eating? You got it right. Yes. Rob Cyrus, whose YouTube channel name is the Carb Addiction Doc, recognizes 1,000% that it's pretty much all about addiction. He has a medical practice. And I'm sure as a doctor, he thinks, or probably knows, that the only way he can really help people is to get them to come in to see him so he can do complete workups and everything. So he doesn't give a ton of advice on his YouTube channel. He promotes his practice, and I don't blame him. If I had a practice like that, I'd promote it too. I promote my Amazon links. We're all promoting something, I guess. He's a smart guy. I admire him, and he does recognize it, and he knows he's an addict. And that's why he always has his jug of coffee with him. He calls it a bridge. He says, when you start to get a craving, go to your bridge. That didn't work for me. When I had a craving, I had to stuff my face full of meat. And that worked. And that's where my first 30-day rules came from. Other people, maybe a little different method, but they call it priming. The idea is during the first 30 or 60 days to eat so much food, forget about the weight loss, that the cravings don't stand a chance, because the thought of food just turns you off. And if you start getting cravings or hunger, you start stuffing your face again, don't stop until you get nauseous at the thought of food, and eat meat instead of sugar. And meat and fat will satisfy your appetite, and it'll keep the cravings down. After a while, I found, at least during the first 30 days, as I neared the end of the first 30 days, I wasn't eating that much. I didn't want to eat that much. I started taking cues from my body as far as satiety and hunger, and it worked. And I'm going to go heavily into that, even though I've got it out there in many videos. They're not consolidated, and they're tough to find. That I want to create an anthology of start to finish. But the most important thing is to always take the simplest method as long as it's effective. It's easy to overcomplicate things. The beauty of carnivore is once you learn how to do it, once you convinced yourself the whys of why it works, so that you have confidence in your decision and you don't believe all this propaganda, and you know that that red meat is not causing you diabetes, even though they said so on CNN. Once you have that confidence, you know your cholesterol's probably going to go up. You know it's not going to kill you. It's going to make you healthier. It's important to learn this stuff, or the self-doubt will knock you, and the propaganda will just knock you right out of this diet. I found myself questioning some of these things, so I just tried to learn more. That's the purpose of what I'm doing. So let's hope it works out. At any rate, thank you, Sherry. Much appreciated. I see a whole bunch of questions here. Did you know the Camel commercials? Yes. Ellen, Mitch, it's Tom from Tampa's birthday today. Just getting your attention. Tom! Viking 442, it's your birthday? How old are you, 35? Good for you, man. Come on in on Thursday night. I haven't seen you in a few weeks. I mean, I've seen you in the chat, but come on in. Anyway, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Let the crowd wish you a happy birthday there. Would you consider an old guy carnivore Facebook page? Steve, sorry, man. I wouldn't touch Facebook with a 10-foot pole. I hate Facebook. And until Zuckerberg finally came out and admitted what they've been up to at Facebook, and he finally admitted it. He finally admitted that they've been taking their marching orders from the government as far as who to censor, what messages to allow out, and what messages to tamp down. To me, that is the most thoroughly disgusting attack on our freedoms and our free speech by a totalitarian-like government like we have now, that I made a decision years ago. I have a Twitter. It's bad enough I got to deal with YouTube and their censoring and throttling. I have a Twitter page. I never use it other than maybe to announce a video coming up. I don't have conversations on Twitter. I don't get in arguments on social media. I hate social media. I think it's ruining our country. And the last thing, sorry, guy, I know that there's some good things on Facebook. There's some good groups on Facebook. I can't do it. I can't participate in something I know is enabling the corrupt, or giving the corrupt a direct path into our minds to manipulate what we think. And it is happening. And if you don't believe me, there was a video today that I watched. Robert F. Kennedy was interviewed today. It was a great video. I have it here somewhere, the link to it, but it's out there. The guy who wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I don't know his name offhand, but he and another guy did about an hour interview with Robert F. Kennedy, and I'm telling you, you can believe every word that comes out of that guy's mouth. And you talk about somebody that has been the victim of the kind of censorship that I'm talking about. He couldn't even, they kept him off the ballots. He wanted to run for president. They kept him off the ballots with this stuff. Nobody's ever heard his message, especially about nutrition. Nobody, because they haven't allowed it to get out. The powers that be have decided that his message can't get out, and his message is our message. And if anybody doesn't believe that censorship and all of that backdoor stuff isn't going on between the media and social media heads, your eyes are not open. You know, I try to stay out of the politics because all I can do is make enemies. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But if I were to tell you who to vote for, I'm sure you can easily imagine what I would say. And I'll leave it at that. Mitch, there's been a lot of questions, said Spanky. Okay, I'm trying to find them. I see but I have to pontificate, you know, I mean, that's why I'm here. We've still got some time left. I see here it is. I am Jazzy J, just because. Thank you so much. Very, very nice of you. Always appreciated. Thank you. And let me, Ellen says, I just put a bunch of questions. CB Carnivore, you know, the camels commercials. Mitch, it's Tom from Tampa's birthday. Let me start looking for the cues again. Spanky says, who here, when they were younger, did the tongue on a cold pole in the middle of winter? Okay, now that I read that, it could be misunderstood. Metal pole, chain link fence. Spanky, we all did that, and they did it in Dumb and Dumber too on the ski lift, if you remember that scene. Every one of us kids had to try it and get our tongue stuck to something, usually like a chain link fence post or something. But yes, we have done that. We have done that, man. Hi, Mitch. Jerome Custino. Hi, Mitch. Could you recap what makes up your diet? I'm eating beef, fish. That's it. No eggs, no bacon, no chicken. What are some variety items that you enjoy? Okay, my diet. At least 6 days a week. I eat 2 meals a day. I eat no snacks, nothing between meals ever. So I have a choice. I have 2 meals in a day. And in those meals, I want to make sure I get, my primary consideration is to get enough fat. It's easy to get lean. It's easy to get protein. But most people don't get enough fat on carnivore. There's a lot of fat in eggs. 50% of an egg is fat and 50% is other stuff. So that's balance. So, if you're eating eggs, you're getting the perfect balance in nature of fat to everything else. So I eat 5 to 6 eggs a day, and bacon is also loaded with fat. And I save some of the bacon fat and cook my eggs in what's left of the bacon fat in the same pan, and that soaks up the fat. When I take the egg out, the pan is clean. But I know that when I eat 5 or 6 strips of that Wright's bacon, that's about a half a pound of bacon. So I'm eating about a half a pound of bacon, and I'm eating 5 or 6 eggs 6 days a week for my first meal. I might 1 day a week for my first meal have maybe some smoked salmon, which I eat on top of pork rinds, followed by maybe some fish. So I have like a appetizer and 2 different things. I have the smoked salmon, and I might have some actual salmon. Might even throw an egg or 2 into that mix. And then I usually try to eat beef every day, some kind of beef. Excuse me a second. Okay, for example, today, my first meal today, I had 5 eggs, 5 strips of bacon. For dinner, I had about a 1 pound sous vide ribeye, finished in butter, seared in butter in the carbon steel pan. That's all I ate today. That's a decent amount of food. It's all I need. Not hungry. I won't get hungry until tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock. And not so hungry that if I had to not eat, it wouldn't bother me. But hungry enough to say I could eat. That's the hungriest I ever get. If somebody says, are you hungry? You're going to come back with an answer. You're going to say, oh, God, I'm starving. If I don't eat soon, I'm going to pass out. Or if you've just eaten a huge meal, you say, no, I'm stuffed. I couldn't eat a drop. But most of the time, there's a middle ground where you could say, well, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, I could eat. That's where I live now. And I think most carnivores live right there. Yeah, I could eat. But if I didn't eat, it'd be no big deal. I could, eat a little later. There's no urgency when you're eating meat and fat. You've got so much energy stored on you, even when you're thin like me. I've still got some fat. I can feel it. I've still got I could live for a while. I could fast for a while without food. And I weigh 136 pounds. Imagine what a 300-pound person, how much energy they have. Millions of calories. They just can't get to it because their insulin is high. Why is their insulin high? They're eating sugar all the time. It's not that complicated. It's actually very simple. When you look at it in principle, and you don't try to be too scientific about it, it's good to understand the science, but in principle, it's pretty easy. There are things that complicate it, but most of the time it just works. Eat the sugar, the insulin goes up, the fat cells get locked up. Body starts looking for more sugar. Don't eat sugar, insulin goes down, fat cells open up, fat comes out. Body remembers, yeah, I remember that. I used to be able to burn that stuff. Let's see if we can wake up some of those pathways in our cells to metabolize that. Then after a month of that, you're a fat burner again. And then your cravings start to diminish. And that's why carnivore works. It's really pretty easy to understand. But those damn cravings don't want you to understand. And certainly the media doesn't want you to understand. The medical community doesn't want you to understand. So you got all this shit working against you, including your own brain. Your own, which is why it seems like such a battle. And you just have to follow a few simple rules and you can do it. And everybody overcomplicates it with all kinds of crap that you got to be hooked up to this and measure that and test the other thing. The more complicated something is, the least likely a human being is to do it. At least me. I'm one of these keep it simple, stupid kind of guys. You know what I mean? So that's what I eat. I eat mostly bacon, eggs, and steak and hamburger most days. I'll either eat a steak for dinner or my second meal, or a pound of ground beef, maybe in the form of 2 patties, or when I make myself one of my meatloafs or some of these recipes. But I make these recipes to show you some variety, but believe it or not, I don't make them very often for myself. About once a month, I make the salmon patties fried in the bacon grease. I love those salmon patties. So about once a month, I might have them for my second meal of the day. I have chicken wings, maybe about every 2 weeks. And I do them I've done them in the air fryer with the panko coating. I've done them now the last time fried in bacon grease with egg and the panko pork rind crumbs, and that was the winner. But I'm not going to do that any more than every 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm very happy and very satisfied with just 4 or 5 different foods all the time. I don't need the variety. It's fun. It's fun. If I wasn't making YouTube videos about giving you guys some more variety, I might not do it, because I always like to take the quickest and easiest way out. And I can cook up bacon and eggs in 10 minutes and have no cleanup. That's my idea of a meal. I could sous vide a ribeye, sear it in a carbon steel pan with butter, wipe the pan out with a paper towel, and put it back on the stovetop, and I'm done. No mess. I can eat some smoked salmon that I get at Sam's and some pork rinds, like hors d'oeuvres. And there's not even any cooking involved in that one. That's why I think carnivore works, because you don't have to spend a lot of time with busy work. Imagine being a vegan. How much preparation you're cooking all day long. You're fooling with your food. You're measuring everything. You got 35, 50, 100 bottles of different supplements you're trying to keep track of. You got massive pill sorters. You're deathly afraid you might not get what you need. I got a better answer. Eat meat. It's all in there. Eat a lot of meat. But if you're a sugar addict, it's not that easy to get started. We're trying. We're trying. Let's see what else we got here. That's it. CeraVe. That was, yes. Yes, Jerry Graham. CeraVe. That was the stuff that I was using. They have two different, they have a anti-itch version and they have just a regular dry skin. I used to get it at Sam's Club. It just made my skin drier in the morning. He is using text search to find the QQQ, says Tom. Happy birthday, Tom, again. Who here when they were younger? I already got that one. Hi, Mitch. Could you recap what makes up your diet? I think I answered that pretty well. I think if you add, I don't eat chicken except wings, just so I can make them with the pork rind crumbs. But bacon and eggs, I think, should be, if you like them, if you can eat them, I think they're the healthiest things in the world for you to eat on Carnivore. I think, for me, they pretty much make up half the food I eat. About half the food I eat is bacon and eggs. And I love bacon. Man, everybody loves, who doesn't like bacon, for God's sakes? It's meat candy. Especially that Wright's thick bacon. I got 30 pounds of that stuff in my freezer. I bought another 4 pounds of it today. Some people put away survival food, these 5-gallon, they buy survival food, these 5-gallon, look like paint buckets full of powder, some kind of powdered food mix not me, I would figure out a way to get a huge freezer, fill it full of bacon, and a generator to keep it going for years if I could. Solar power. Who would want to survive on that survival food stuff that they have? It's all garbage. It's all poison. It's all seed oils, grain, sugars. Nothing healthy in that stuff. Yeah, it'll keep you alive. There's the CeraVe thing, and I think, let me get down to some other area in the chat here where there's more questions. That's the problem with this thing is it doesn't always pick out all the cues like I want it to. I'm going round in circles. Let me go all the way to the bottom of the chat here. Spanky says, I see cues here. You only use Facebook for sending offensive jokes and memes and to see pics of my grandkid. Yeah, I mean, in that respect, you could. For me, I don't. I had it. I deleted it. I just have nothing but disgust for the people that run that whole mess, and I just don't want any part of it. I have to live without it. I could probably promote my channel more on there. I could probably be members of. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm too old. If I was a young kid, maybe. My kids use Facebook all the time. I can't even see some of the stuff that they send me because I don't have an account. I know I've missed some questions here. Mitch, are your eggs almost gone? Damn it, Jim, I'm a carnivore, not a doctor. Question, Mitch, are your eggs? No, they're not. They're about I only bought them about 10 days ago. That was 15 dozen eggs. There was like 8 trays of 30. I've gone through about 2.5 trays of them so far. But it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long. And they're still doing great. They taste great. I really like them. I really like them. Question, 5Qs DS111. I know I've missed some, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to try to manually look for them. Have you ever encountered meat that was modified by a meat department to look more red, like dyed. I think I had some last week. It was gross, very dark red, even after baking. I'm, you know, I'm sure they, there are some people that do that. Some of them use needles to tenderize meat. Sometimes you break open a thing of ground beef and you see that it's red on the outside and brown on the inside. I don't generally worry about that. If it smells okay, I'm not going to worry about that. I've been buying the 10-pound tubes of 80/20 ground chuck at Sam's. Seems to be as pure, and it's really chuck. And it says nothing but chuck in there. It's no pink slime or anything else. And it's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I bought 20 pounds of it today. I put one big tube in my freezer outside, and the other tube tomorrow I'm going to portion out to 1 pound portions. And I wrap them up in these little Ziploc bags, roll the air out of them, and put them in the freezer. And so that'd be 10 of those. That'll last me a couple weeks. So I'm going through probably about 20 pounds of ground beef a month, is what it seems to be. And today it was like $4.29 a pound. So I think that's as good as any ground beef I found. I was trying all these prepackaged 1 pound things, the Wagyu, what they call grass fed. The grass fed had nowhere near enough fat in it. The Wagyu had plenty of fat, but they don't have that anymore. This stuff comes and goes. I haven't seen that for a month or two. I was buying some at Aldi's, but then I got a batch that I wasn't really happy with, so I went back to Sam's to the 10-pound tubes again. And until I keep looking, but until I see something better, that's economical. And I've been pretty happy with it. BMAT says, question, Mitch, have you ever encountered meat that was modified? BMAT says, Sam's Club now has its members marked thick cut bacon that is packaged. I talked about that earlier. You may not have been here. And it's cheaper than the Wrights. Have you tried it? And I just, earlier on in this stream, I went through a little speech about how the label on that says 1 gram of carbs per slice, and the label on the right says 0 grams of carb per slice. And I don't know why there's a difference. It might be different bacon, might be the same bacon, and they just round it a little differently with the number of carbs to get. But for $3, it's $3 cheaper. For $3, I said, you know what? I went into a little speech about trace carbs. I said, I'm gonna buy the Wrights. It's a known entity to me. I might buy a package of that other stuff. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it tastes good. I wouldn't be surprised if it was processed and packaged in exactly the same plant that Wrights. I think Wrights is Tyson Foods. Don't quote me on that, but most of these things are owned or are products of some much bigger food conglomerate. Best we can do is look at each individual product and make sure we're doing okay with it. But I didn't buy any today, but I did see it today. In fact, I do have a picture of it here, which I showed earlier. But let me pull it back up. Let me find it. There it is, right there. And it does look like the Wrights bacon. There it is. Double smoked, thick cut bacon, 4 pounds, hickory smoked with real wood. It comes in the 2-pound packages. Even the box, the style of the box almost looks like the same style as the box that the Wrights come in. for some reason, the nutritional label on this says 1 gram, and the Wrights says 0. And I've been using the Wrights for quite a while, so I said, well, maybe I should stick with it. So I hope that answers that question. God, you guys are chatting up a storm here. Question. Cheryl Cobbett. Question. I've been trying to find the Mueller frying pan in the 8-inch size. I can't find it anywhere. Would you happen to know who sells that size? I bought the 12-inch and love it. I have no idea if it's not on Amazon. That's the only place I know that has the Muellers. I know they have the 10-inch ones and the 12-inch. They have them in black. They have them in a lot of different colors. But I don't know about an 8-inch one. And what happens if you Google 8-inch Mueller stone ceramic frying pan? Maybe it would come up that way. Holy cow, it's 5 minutes to 10. I've been live since I go on 5 minutes early, 2 hours and 1 minute and 11 seconds. Where in the world did the time go? Hey, Bill's here, Coast to Coast Drones. He stops in my live streams every once in a while, one of my old drone buddies. So I surprised him the other night and stopped into his live stream on Wednesday night, last Wednesday. And got a very nice hello from him. So how you doing? How you doing, Bill? Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping. Thanks for keeping in touch. I think we're about ready to wrap it up here. 135 people still in the house. Man, guys are killing me. I want to thank you all so much for just being here. I've told you this before, but I mean it. I really mean it. I don't want to say I'm lonely, because I'm really not. It's not a thought that crosses my mind. I kind of like the autonomy and the freedom of it. But I don't have a lot of human contact. I have my kids, but you know how it is with kids. You don't see them a whole lot. They have their lives. I don't really interact with any of my neighbors. I have nothing in common. I got a new next door neighbor that just moved in next door to me. And about 6 months ago, I talked about Carnivore, and he said, that sounds really great. I want to talk to you more about it. And then I didn't see him. And I saw him yesterday, and he's asked me the name of my channel, and I told him. So I may have a next door neighbor who might want to be Carnivore. But you guys, that's why I love these 3 live streams I do every week, because I get to talk. I get to talk to my friends. You have a harem, Mitch, says Ellen. Yeah. I have a harem, but I don't have to support any of you guys. It's the best of both worlds. We're all on the same boat, says Sherry. I know, Sherry. Believe me, I know how it is. And sometimes I tried the relationship stuff. I was married for a total of 35 years. I'm happier now. I'm older now. Do the best you can. But these get-togethers, I love them. And you have tons of human contact. Yeah, exactly. That's why this means so much to me. So I've been reading all the comments, answering some of them, especially the ones with questions that I can answer, I do. The ones that were just so overboard complimentary and nice. I have to tell you how much I appreciate that, and I do. And I'm managing it. I'm not getting the kind of views I used to get either, so I'm not getting the kind of comments I used to get. I think things are changing a little bit. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if my message is a message for fewer people than the broader message of the keto people and all of that. But I still believe, and I'm going to stick to my guns, that the way I'm doing it compared to what happened to me over the majority of my life is the way that works. May not be the most pleasant sounding way at first. May seem a little extreme to some. But I wouldn't trade this life that I've settled into now with my relationship with food for anything. And it's unlike anything I've ever had. So if it means I get fewer views, so be it. So be it. Anyway, I want to thank everybody. You try talking for 2 hours and see how you hold up. If I missed any of your questions, I'm sorry. I think maybe I'll try to find me a moderator or two. If you think you might want to be a moderator with a blue wrench to keep an eye on the chat, and we'll figure out some way for you to tell me that I need to pay attention to something. Volunteer, let me know, and we'll talk about it. But I know Ken Berry's got like 10, they call them health coaches, who answer questions. I'm not looking for somebody to take my place. Just let me know when I'm missing something, because it's just a lot of stuff going by here in front of me. And it's okay if I'm not in the middle of talking about something, but other than that, it is a little overwhelming. So let's bring in my exit music. I want to say goodnight to everybody. Thanks so much again for coming. I will see you tomorrow morning. I don't know what I'll talk about yet tomorrow, but I'll be there. Something will come up. And we'll see you Thursday evening in the private community. And I see that almost the entirety of the chat right now is the private community. So, yeah, it's all green. Sea of green. A couple of you are white, but that's okay. That's okay. So, my friends, Sunset Dreams, Mitch, says Sherry. Give your pet cat a hug. I don't have a pet cat. Nick Sheeson says, good night, ladies and gents, and happy birthday again to you, Tom. They come more rapidly every year, don't they? So with that, see you Saturday, too. And tonight, y'all take the rest of the day off and eat meat.